Hey, it has been a minute. I haven't made any longer videos here in a while, and that was for a few reasons. I was a little burnt out from making videos, and the summer garden also kind of burned me out with all the struggles that I had with it this year. Then my phone, which I use as a camera, stopped working, so I couldn't really film anything until I got a new phone, which took a while. I have also had a lot going on personally, unfortunately, including a loss in the family. I'm okay now, but a few weeks ago, I definitely wasn't. So I just wanted to take some time for myself and not force content when I didn't feel like making any. So the shorts that I have been posting here have just been older videos that I hadn't posted to YouTube yet because I didn't want my channel to become stagnant. Then I got super busy with work, and no, making social media content is not my job for myself, but I am a social media manager for a brand in the food industry, and we've had some really crazy weeks, and so any time and energy that I can muster up needs to be spent on what is going to give me a guaranteed paycheck. But I do have a lot of videos to finish making, including some tomato reviews. I haven't started anything for the fall and winter garden yet, and I haven't even really been outside much, to be honest, but there are some things that are worth showing. So let's go outside and take a look at what my garden is looking like right now before the rain starts. We'll start with the front yard, and as you can see, the nasturtium volunteers are starting to pop up everywhere, and my daffodils and freesias are starting to come up. My perennials are starting to green back up again, and then I have my California poppy volunteers popping up all over. I can't wait to see all of those flowers again. My saffron crocus or sativa has bloomed, and they bloomed out of nowhere. It wasn't like this the other day, but I better harvest the threads later, especially before the rain. Now in the backyard with more flowers, the ranunculus is also starting to come up again, and I actually still have a sunflower here that bloomed recently, as well as two more tiny little sunflower heads on this stalk. The main head has already dried up, so I'll cut this off later to get the seeds. I also noticed earlier that my artichoke plants are starting to come back up. I haven't even removed the older part of the plants from this season. Last year I did try and divide the plants, but they didn't survive. But I think I'll just leave them as is and see what happens. They may get crowded out and may not produce as much, or they will do just fine and I'll have a lot of artichokes. Either way, I'm willing to experiment with this. The strawberry plants need to be pruned, but they are still doing okay and are even still producing, although not as much as in the summer, but I'll take it. My main raised beds that had tomatoes in them are pretty much empty or will be soon since all of the plants are dead. I did leave the marigolds in this bed because they are still blooming a bit, and I also wouldn't mind if they reseeded themselves so that I don't have to plant them next year. Then in this bed that is nearly empty and will be cleared out soon, I have some amaranth and celosia, which is a nice pop of color during this transition of the weather since we are seeing a lot more gloomy days now. I do still have some tomato plants though, just my container ones. I have Geranium Kiss right here. It looks sad, but there is some new growth here, so I'll leave it and see what happens. This Patio Choice Yellow is just as good as dead, but my Orange Hat is doing pretty good, and my Tiny Tim is having a comeback. The Cherry Falls Bush is pretty much spent, and the Sweet Splash Electra seems to be on its way out. And then we have Fuzzy Wuzzy here that has a lot of flowers on it, so we'll see what happens. I'll move these out of the way of the incoming rain and maybe keep them indoors and see if I can keep them going a little longer or to see if they will even overwinter. Then we have my pepper bed over here, and some of them are still going. I'll just leave them, and whichever plants survive, I'll keep, and whichever ones don't will be removed. But over here, my shishitos are still doing quite well, which I am happy about. I emptied out my lettuce grow unit because all the plants died because they just weren't doing well and I let them go. So I'll clean out this whole tower and get some new things planted in here. And then I'll be starting some leafy greens and other things soon for my raised beds. So that's all I have to share for now. The garden looks sad, but also does still have some exciting things if I look closely enough. And as I sow more seeds, I'll have more going on.